Well, greetings from Bishop Fenwick, and welcome to this edition of Tuesdays with Tom. As I shared in the intro, this may seem paradoxical, an invitation to be less sensitive and more empathetic. Sensitivity, my Google search there revealed this definition: a person's feelings which might be easily hurt, slighted, or offended. The capacity of an organ to respond to external stimulation, a word that we all know, at least I know well. What does it result in? Irritability. Empathy, on the other hand, the ability to understand the feelings and to share in the experiences of others, to walk in another's shoes, to appreciate another's reality, right? Another's story. Sensitivity today seems to me self-centered. How this affects me, how that bothers me, how he hurt me or she upset me, why I am entitled to be angry, even as I said to our students yesterday, apologies for the language, why I have a right to be pissed off. In any event, sensitivity is self-centered, empathy, other-centered. Empathy asks, what is my family member experiencing? What is my friend feeling? What is someone else carrying? What is another going through? What is happening with them? We see so much of the first, the sensitivity, and I think terribly little of the second, this empathy. Where do I see it? On the road, myself included, right? No thought for the other when it comes to sensitivity. People could be lost, confused, nervous, distracted by a life crisis, even having an emergency on the spot. But there's no regulator for our response, or sometimes mine. We honk, even for the least little error or the slightest delay. I always say the shortest measurement of time is between the moment when the light in front of you turns green and the person behind you honks, right? And then there's the cursing and the gesturing and the driving aggressively. In our culture, too, I think we see this. There's very little thought for the other sometimes, for the different perspective, the alternate view, even for deep things like experiencing loss or hurt or suffering in some way, because there's no regulator on our response when we feel offended or angry or outraged. Quite arrogantly and stridently, even indignantly, I think we all find those moments where we blame the other, as if to suggest that someone must pay. Someone must pay. So my suggestion this week to our students, as we're all a bit tired and fatigued, maybe a little worn down and worn out, quite understandably on edge, given all that's happening in our world, dial down the sensitivity and pump up the empathy. Because really, if we're looking for a reason to be angry or upset, if we're really looking for that every day, newsflash, we'll find one. And if we're looking for others to disappoint us or to let us down or to fall short of our lofty expectations, surely we'll find many. If we want to find fault in those around us, we will in fact become prophets. We will become prophets. For in wanting to see the worst in others, we will see it. We are, after all, sinners. So, yes, if we want to adopt that worldview, looking at others as potential enemies, always seeking a reason to be outraged or victimized, our prophecy will come true. It's self-fulfilling. As I shared with our students, though, sadly, I hope we know that in the end, it will not only be self-fulfilling, it will be self-destroying and relationship-destroying and community-destroying. So my invitation to my own self this week is to be less sensitive about my own perspective and more empathetic to the perspectives and the stories and the experiences of others. And by the way, not a surprise to me when I Google search quotes on empathy. Two of the top two were from Catholic theologians, Henry Nouwen. When we honestly ask ourselves which people in our lives mean the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain, and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief, bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and face us with the reality of our own powerlessness. That is a friend who cares. And I'll close with Dietrich Bonhoeffer. We must learn to regard people less in light of what they do or admit to do, and more in the light of what they suffer. It's a great message for us today, very much in tune with the messages of gratitude and thanksgiving and appreciation that our students shared for their classmates and the members of our faculty and staff during Catholic Schools Week. So empathy brings out the best in us. Blessings on your week. Take care.